Let's begin today's Vanguard news with the only new ride line in DZLBT01 besides the encounter decks, because Bushiroad had to dedicate most of the slots to support the older ride lines. Absolute Zero Lix is your not so typical D-series lyrical Monasteria starter, because she is not doing her morning exercise. Absolute Zero Claw when riding over Absolute Zero Lix lets you add up to 1 Absolute Zero or Judge Maiden card from the top 7 cards of your deck. And once per turn while on rear guard, you can pay 1 discard if you have a grade 3 or higher Absolute Zero Vanguard and your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or higher, to get herself a continuous ability that gives all your front row units 5k power. I find it a bit too convoluted that Bushiroad had to introduce 2 subnations for one deck just to balance out the cards. Absolute Zero Cashier when ridden over by a grade 3 Absolute Zero card makes you call Absolute Zero Claw from your soul to rear guard. And while on rear guard, she gets 5k power when she attacks a Vanguard while you have a grade 3 or higher Absolute Zero Vanguard. Then you can retire herself at the end of that battle to draw a card. The right line skill alone makes her a really good card since she gives you a free booster. Then she becomes a 15k painkiller angel with no soul cost on rear guard. Running her at 4 is a must. Absolute Zero Sagitta while on Vanguard gives you and your opponent's units an auto ability that prevents them from doing attacks on the 4th or more battle of their turn, unless they discard a card. Once per turn while on Vanguard, you can pay 4 energy to get 10k power and an extra drive check. And once per turn while on Vanguard, you can pay 1 counter blast when you discard by a card's ability during your turn to draw a card. Honoly shit. No wonder Bushiroad didn't restrict anything from Shiranui. They intend this to be the obligatory stun deck that counters multi-attacks. Expect every Stoichenia player to take a break if this deck becomes the meta. Shawl of Rest Judge Maiden Crooner when discarded during your turn gives one of your rear guards 5k power if you have a Absolute Zero Vanguard. This would have been better if this also works on the opponent's battle phase, but I guess it would also become too powerful. Neat and fluffy Judge Maiden Mary Ellis while on rear guard lets you retire herself at the end of the battle she attacked while you have her Absolute Zero Vanguard to retire one of your opponent's grade 2 or lower rear guard. I haven't seen a retire ability in Lyrical Monasteria since Michu, and they gave it to the only Judge Maiden that doesn't have white hair. Secret Prayer Judge Maiden Clary when discarded during your turn makes you put herself into your soul if you have her Absolute Zero Vanguard. And while on the Guardian Circle, she gets 5k shields if you have her Absolute Zero Vanguard. Probably the most useless support for the deck, since they don't even use soul for a cost. Light Encircling the Flower Garden Judge Maiden Larinia when placed on rear guard lets you pay 1 counter blast if you have her Absolute Zero Vanguard to add up to 1 Absolute Zero or Judge Maiden card from the top 5 cards of your deck. And while on rear guard, she gets 5k power when she attacks a grade 3 or higher unit. Did Bushiroad forget to put a clause that prevents you from adding another copy of herself? Hopefully this won't get abused, but who are we kidding? Calming Sky Blue Judge Maiden Aruha when discarded during your turn makes you charge 1 energy if you have her Absolute Zero Vanguard. While in the drop zone, you can call herself to rear guard when your grade 3 or higher Absolute Zero Vanguard attacks and you do not have another copy of her on your field. And while on rear guard, she gets 10k power when she attacks while you have a grade 3 or higher Absolute Zero Vanguard. This is a deck's only attack extender, which in turn is the deck's only way to use Judge Maiden's discard abilities. So not having her in your drop zone by your grade 3 right turn shuts down half your deck's cards, since you have no other way of discarding by effect. Finally, here's Sagitta's LSR artwork, which in my opinion is too covered. The sarong is barely see-through, making this seem like this was censored. Seems like only Lutetia was allowed to show off the bottom part of her swimsuit. Even Kyoka was partly submerged in water as to not fully show off her crotch region. And that concludes this Vanguard news without the bullshit. Special thanks to my Patreon members for continuing to support my content creation. Be sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments if Shiranui players finally start to decline because of some ice birds.